So Marissa, I know you're also a theater actor, but you never told me that you're part of a band.
I'm part of a band.
Yeah, Marisa Duran, right?
Oh my gosh. I should have. I don't know how I didn't see that coming, to be honest. I should have.
You've probably heard
It
that
is
so many
funny though.
times.
Yes, that's basically how every teacher ever remembered who I was in school. They
Oh
were like,
yeah.
"Oh, like Duran Duran." And I was like, yes.
Did you ever listen to them?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm a big fan of like 70s, 80s, 90s music. So that's the bulk of what I listen to. And Duran Duran is one of those bands.
No,
So
hell yeah.
yeah,
Um,
it's
but
awesome.
hell yeah. And what a way to start. But yeah, welcome back to another episode of Overvoice Season 3. And today is the season finale. So very excited. So who better than to have the amazing Marissa Duran with us today? Marissa, would you please introduce yourself, my friend?
Woohoo! Hello. I'm Marisa Duran. I am a stage, screen, and voice actor, and these days I'm mostly known for voice acting. I voice Kyoko Hori and Horimiya, Sagari in Hell's Paradise, and Laufin and Frieren, amongst a bunch of others. You can check out my IMDb for more.
Hell yeah. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on, Marissa. We've you're a very busy busy person, so it's very nice for you to schedule time to come here in
Of
both
course.
places.
I'm
So I
glad we were able
appreciate
to
it.
make it work with our time zone differences.
Yeah,
Crazy.
I think over the past few like interviews I've done in the past, I think it's been a lot easier for me to do it because it's like almost a day ahead nowadays. It's like a couple
Yeah.
eight, like maybe 18, 16 hours. So
Yeah.
um it's nothing too unreasonable, I think. Which I think is really nice. I've just kind of gotten used to CST, PST, EST at this point. It's like my second time zones at this point.
Exactly.
And yeah. But yeah, Marissa, my first question for you is how'd you get into voice acting and what's your journey been like so far?
Yes, always fun. Getting into voice acting was not what I set out to do. Growing up, I always thought I would be on Broadway. Like that was the dream as the little theater kid that I was. And then I went to college for acting and kind of started doing more film work. And then when I graduated, it was like an online newsletter you could sign up for, and then each week they would send out emails with various theater auditions in the area, and sometimes they would throw in short film casting calls and like I don't know if a theme park needed mascot characters or something like they would throw in things like that. So one week I checked it, and Funimation at the time had an open casting call. And I'm that theater kid that's kind of weird, and I actually really like auditioning. And so I was like, well, I've never done that, but it seems cool. And you only have to be there for like 5 minutes. So, okay. So I sent an email and got a little time slot set up. And then I showed up and they were like, pick one of these binders. And so there was a binder for male sides and one for female sides. And so you just pick whichever one you're more comfortable with. And so I picked up the female sides binder and I'm flipping through and I see one for Black Star from Soul Eater. And I was like, well, I think I could do that. So I picked that one. And I couldn't even tell you what the other two were, but they told us to pick three total. And I guess the point was to show range. Couldn't tell you if I did that or not. But I went in, had never been in Funimation or even in any kind of vocal booth before. And so I just
Oh,
walked in and was like, okay, I guess we're just going to figure it out. So I recorded my auditions and then went home and kind of forgot about it. And in the theater world, if you don't hear anything back, within like 2 weeks of auditioning, you didn't book it.
oh yeah.
Well, I didn't hear anything for 6 months.
Yeah.
And I completely forgot I auditioned. And then I just get an email one day that's like, hey, can you come in and record Walla on Showman sample? And I was like, but okay. So that's how it started. It was kind of an accident, but a very happy accident that then led me to where I am now.
Oh wow. So I didn't see your first anime with Shonen Senpu. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
I think I'm like randomly like one of these girls at like a fast food restaurant that they go to or
Oh,
something,
okay.
like freaking out over the food and how neat it is. Like it's the
Of
little
course.
things. I do that in real life, so it's fine.
Wait, really? Is it? I don't know. Like, I haven't like come across like anything like super what's the word, like messy in fast food yet.
Not
Which
really,
which
no.
is
I just
surprising
get
because
excited about
considering.
food.
Oh, true.
right?
Um, so like, did you watch anime before you got to work with Funimation, or was like this something completely new to you at the time?
A little bit. I feel like a lot of people would be like, Studio Ghibli doesn't count. Like, yes, it does.
I think it
But I
does.
grew up, right, thank you. I grew up watching Kiki's Delivery Service on Disney Channel, and it was the
Yeah.
dubbed version, of course. And so that was my first introduction to like, I guess anime, but to me it was just another animated movie that I really liked. But I wasn't introduced into proper like anime shows and series until I was in college. And my boyfriend at the time was big into anime. And so usually we would sit down to like eat dinner together and watch something on the
Oh, that's
TV at the
sweet.
same time. Yeah. And so we started out, my first, I guess, like true anime other than Ghibli would have been Soul Eater.
Oh, yeah.
That was my first one. And then we leaped into something totally different and went to Attack on Titan.
Oh, yeah.
And watching that while you're eating dinner is not always a good choice.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
but yeah, so those were the first two, and two very different sides of the spectrum too. But I love them both. Um, so I would say those were like my first Kiki's Delivery Service, Soul Eater, and Attack on Titan.
Oh, nice. That's pretty good range.
Yeah.
What was my first anime? Because I guess technically my first anime was Dragon Ball, but I don't know because I was like 3, but I remember it because like my cousins came to New Zealand at the time, and this is back when we had Toonami. Um,
Oh, yeah.
we don't have it anymore, unfortunately. But yeah, I remember like watching like Dragon Ball GT. That was like the first time I watched like an anime. Um, Too bad it was the shitty version of Dragon Ball that everybody hates.
You know,
Then then I got to Z eventually. Then after I watched Dragon Ball Z Abridged, then I watched the all of Dragon Ball, and then yeah, I'm now caught up. And oh man, but I also watch like other anime shows as well. Um, but
yeah.
but yeah, from someone who has a theater and stage background, how's it like implementing those like skills and techniques into like the world of voiceover?
That's always such a good question. And it's interesting because I feel like my uh I do a lot of like slice of life, rom-com, a little more grounded in terms of like anime reads, so it's not like shonen pro tag crazy. And then even when I am a shonen pro tag, she's like very stoic, so it's very funny. But I feel like my realm in voiceover is more grounded and realistic. And so I'm able to, it's sort of like this perfect blend of my theater training and my film training coming to meet in voiceover, which is really neat. And I can see now how like everything I've done leading up to my voiceover career has like prepared me for it, which is really neat. Um, but my theater training helped a lot because I did improvisation. Um, I had a voice and speech teacher, even starting like in eighth
Oh,
grade, who was like really good about beating the Southern dialect out of me. So I lost my Texas dialect pretty quickly growing up.
oh really?
But yeah, isn't that funny? But I can still bring it out when I go home because I hear my mom talk. Um, but I don't know, it helped me develop my like standard American dialect that
Hmm,
we use for like everything ever. And then I took a dialects course in college, and that helped me kind of solidify the dialects that I know how to do
hmm,
well.
yeah.
um, Improvisation, being able to look at a script and break it down into beats. Because I started doing theater when I was in second grade, and anytime we'd audition for something, we were cold reading, so we hadn't seen it before. We got it the side when we got there, and we just maybe got to read it out loud with a partner, and then we went in and did the thing.
Yeah.
And a lot of what I do in anime is that because I don't see the script until I go in,
Hmm,
and I'm having to make decisions on the fly about, well, the animation looks like this. The music is pretty somber. So that to me says that this is a really somber moment. This line, the first part might be a little more intense, but then the second part's going to be more sad because her face changes. And like you're able to make all of these changes on the fly in the moment. And it's really satisfying to do it well. Um, but it was a lot at first to be able to kind of put the pieces together, look at the script, look at the video, and try to match the two and figure out where everything fits. Um, so I think all of my theater and film training has really lent itself very, very well to what I do
yeah.
now.
Because I also came from a stage background, so theater is very it's like the closest thing you can get to like being a voice actor before becoming an actual voice actor.
It
Um,
really is.
because like you have to do like a lot of like projection, like a lot of yelling, which I didn't. Which I after thinking about, I was like, yeah, we did a lot of like projecting to like the people in the audience a lot. So I was like,
Yes.
this kind of prepared us in a way. Well, we don't, but in like some cases, depending on like the gain and stuff, we may or may not have to scream or project that loud, but it's still very good to have. And
Yeah.
it's actually really nice to hear that like you've mentioned your natural like go your natural tone is grounded, which is very very good, by the way. It's actually kind of interesting because like a lot of people, including myself, like it's like we naturally speak more a bit more animated than usual. But you naturally have like the grounded tone, which is kind of like the opposite, but you can still do animated, which is really cool. I can still do grounded,
Right.
but it just takes a bit more out of me to like get into that sort of natural setting, if that makes
Well,
sense.
and it's sort of funny because like in comparison to even like some really, really grounded people I know, like I am pretty animated. I talk with my hands a lot. My facial expressions are really big. And so going from theater to on camera was harder than going from like theater to voiceover because on camera, like the camera is in your face, depending on
Mm.
what lens they're using. Like they are right there. And I I took a class with a casting director once and he was like, you blink too much. And I was like,
Huh?
my eyes are dry. Like I sorry. So now I'm like
Yeah.
super aware of that whenever I'm on camera. But it's just like little things. I think making the jump from on camera to voiceover would probably be a little more difficult
Mm.
unless you're an on camera actor that's going into work on super grounded cinematic video games like The Last of Us or something. Like
Yeah.
that's a little different. But yeah, if you're going straight from on camera work to being like in one piece, that's a little different.
Oh wow. Well, good luck. That's incredible.
Yeah.
What's his name? He was in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Is it James Marsden? Yeah, no, not James Marsden. James Marsters. Yes, that's right.
Oh, close.
I was very close. They're both very similar last names. James Marsden's the Sonic guy, and the Hop guy. Uh, but no, James Marsters. He was in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Um, so he's more of a screen actor. Then he plays Zamasu in Dragon Ball Super, um, which is really interesting. So he kind of made the jump from screen to voice, and he did it really well. His performance is amazing.
That's
But
wild.
but yeah, I can imagine like how different it is for like a screen person to just hop into this over animated wacky world of voiceover.
Yep.
Yeah, but I also wanted to ask as well. This is completely unrelated, but like, what those are AirPods, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember like what kind of AirPods are they? Because like I saw the original AirPods when they came out, and I was like, that shit ain't fitting in my ear. Then I saw like the newer ones where it's like more circular and like, okay, that can fit in my ear.
I
But
was
I don't
gonna say
know.
that might be, I don't even know. I got them like super on sale at Target last year because it was like a Black Friday sale. And I was
Ah,
like,
true.
yes.
Oh my god,
'Cause prior to that,
it's
I still
almost
have
Black
my
Friday.
plug-in, like I use my plug-in headphones usually.
Oh yeah, fair enough. I mean, I'm a slow plug-in earphones. But we don't. But like most phones don't even have like the headphone jack anymore. So I don't
Yeah,
know why. It's just that's just like a normal thing now. So like I don't know. It's weird. Innovation is weird. Change is weird. I
it
don't
is.
know why. but but yeah. I gotta ask because like you've been a part of a lot of anime like Horimiya, and a couple others, many others. But after finishing those sessions and when you're allowed to talk about them publicly, do you end up reading more into the manga or collecting like memorabilia or anything like that?
I definitely do. It's so interesting because with Horimiya, I was so new to voiceover still at the time. Like I had done Walla off and on for several years at that point, but I had never had a named character of any kind. It had always been Walla in bits, like pretty short sessions, group sessions. And so I didn't realize when I booked Hori that there was like merch available that I should probably be buying because it goes out of stock and then you can't find it anywhere.
Oh yeah.
So I think there was a lot, probably a lot of merch that I missed out on because I had no idea that was like a thing I could do.
Oh.
Um, but good news, bad news. So Hell's Paradise is has a ton of merch. And so I was fully prepared when it came out to like buy all the things, which I kind of did. Um, but it's interesting because Hell's Paradise, they're actually like the publisher, they are allowed to create more merch than Horimiya was allowed.
Oh yeah.
Which is why we see so many different like statues and figures of Sagari and Gabimaru because they're allowed to exist. Um, so yeah, like I don't know, maybe I didn't miss out on that much Horimiya merch. Um, but I definitely bought things, and I in my apartment living room, like on the sides of the TV, I have two like floating bookshelves, and it's just all merch of random stuff. There's some Pokemon, there's some like notes from friends, but a lot of it is just Nendoroids and various statues and plushies.
Oh, notes from friends like fan mail or just like physical
Yeah,
notes.
yeah. Notes of like I don't know, like hey, thanks, I miss you, like just like random. It's like a
Oh,
feel good wall,
oh
basically.
yeah, that's quite nice. I love that.
Yeah, it's really neat, and I don't know. I recognize how lucky I am to be able to have something like that,
Yeah,
and it serves as a reminder of how far I've come and how much I have
yeah,
to be grateful for. It's cool.
hell yeah. Also, I wanted to ask because like we were both in Cabin Tales together last year in the
Yeah,
same episode. So yeah, first off, you did really great by the way. Um,
thank you.
and yeah, I
It was
wanted to
super
ask
fun.
like what was it like working on that?
It was a really cool experience. It
Yeah.
was the first like real audio drama thing I had done. I hadn't really
Mm.
like delved into that world yet. And so I was really, really excited when Thomas was like, hey, yo, let's do a thing. And I was like, okay. Um, and it turned out so well. I remember during the session, I was screaming up a storm and
Oh
I
yeah.
lived at home at the time. So I warned my parents ahead of time. I was like, just so you guys know, if you hear screaming from upstairs, it's me and I'm fine. It's for an audio drama. um, but yeah, it went super well. Thomas was very, very complimentary. We got things done really quickly.
Hell yeah.
Um, yeah, it felt good to go in and like nail the lines and the beats, and then getting to hear the finished product was really cool because I didn't know what anyone was going to sound like. So yeah,
Yeah.
it all came together really well. And
Hell
I want
yeah.
to do more audio dramas now. I really like it.
Oh, nice. That's awesome. Hell yeah. I'm sure there's plenty of audio dramas out there, so I'm sure you'll definitely get to be a part of many, many more.
I got to go hunt on
Y-
Twitter. That's what I have to do.
Yeah, it's like it's not like they're going anywhere. To be honest, there's like
No,
a lot nowadays. But yeah, I also wanted to ask, are there any projects or any like dream things you want to be a part of? This is purely a manifestation round, so yeah.
manifestation round. Oh my gosh. Um, any, I say any of the Hoyo games,
Oh
but
yeah,
it would be really, really neat. I play a lot of ZZZ, so it'd be cool to be in that. That's been my newest obsession.
nice.
Um, I haven't played Genshin in like 4 or 5 months at this point, but being playing a beautiful character in that game would be a dream.
Mm.
Um, what else? I'm trying to think of what else is coming out. What else I've read. Um,
Like any like cartoons and stuff you kind of grew up with and want to be a part of?
oh my gosh. I think anything that's like along the same lines as Futurama or
Oh
what was it?
yes,
Was it Disenchantment? Is
yeah,
that what that show was
Disenchantment.
called?
Yeah, the
Anything along those lines would be really cool. Like animation that is for adults, that is funny and like kind of satirical. That would
yeah,
be really, really neat.
yeah. I
Um,
think Futurama's coming back, right? That's what I heard.
I think so,
It was
if
really
I
weird
remember correctly.
because I remember Futurama ending and then I think it was like 2 years later. Hey, we're gonna bring it back. It's like okay.
Yeah, it was wild. Um, and then just this morning, I went to go see Look Back in theaters,
Oh yeah.
which is based on the one-shot manga from the creator of Chainsaw Man.
Oh cool.
And it was so good. And it was, I don't know, as of right now, I don't believe that there's a dub or like plans for a dub, but if there were plans for a dub, I'm here. That'd be really neat.
Oh,
Okay, that's it.
I'm sure there is. I'm sure there has to be, right? I mean, there's
You
a
would
market for it.
think,
Yeah.
but I don't know. We'll see.
But yeah, I also want to ask because like you got to see Funimation Crunchyroll as Funimation before Funimation died and became Crunchyroll wholly. So like after like being there as Funimation, now fully Crunchyroll. Like, what was it like when like, hey, we're no longer Funimation. Funimation's gone. What was that like?
It was wild. When I booked Horimiya in 2021, um, I didn't have a remote setup at the beginning. And
Oh yeah.
so we were still in COVID, but I would go into the studio to record.
Hmm. Yeah.
So I would show up and they were already in the process of emptying the building out. So most of the employees were remote working from home because
Oh,
COVID.
cool. Yeah.
Um, and so I showed up, the parking lot was empty. The sign was still on the building, but I would go up to the door, see the security guard, wave at him. He would buzz me in. I would open the door. It was just me and him. I would walk back to the one studio that I would go to. No one else was in the building. My director, my engineer, not in the building. And I would
Oh.
just walk into the little studio and then close the door and then walk into the booth and close the door and put on my headphones. And there they were.
Oh wow.
So it was a very, yeah, it was a very isolating experience for my first lead role.
Yeah, I
And I
guess
didn't
so.
really realize that I had been, for lack of a better term, starved of the experience that so many people are now getting when they book their first lead. Um, People are doing like watch parties for the first and final
Yeah.
episodes and um, streams and like all of these different like community building things that I didn't have.
No, fair.
So I'm learning a lot. It's been cool, but it's been really nice now to be able to go into what is now Crunchyroll in this
Yeah.
beautiful new building overlooking like a new lake, um, and getting to see people and
Yeah.
interact with people because there are actually people in the building now.
Yeah.
Um, so that's been really nice. It is crazy though, because it is such a bigger, it's on a bigger scope now than it ever was
Oh
before,
yeah, for sure.
including the number of people that are in the building, including the number of shows that we're working on at a time, and just everything has been increased in number.
Are there
So it's
more
very busy
are there
and
more
very hectic.
are there more security guards there now? I would imagine so, right?
Kind of, yeah. I feel like they kind of like switch off, but
Oh yeah.
yeah,
I mean, it makes you feel
there's
better. Like,
definitely,
it makes you
yeah.
feel any better. Like, 2020 and 2021 was like, COVID. So like isolation was like a huge thing. So it wasn't you, people,
It was not, yeah.
so don't worry. But yeah, I did not know Horimiya was remote. That's incredible.
Yeah, it was for the most part. There was a point, I think I recorded the first episode or two in studio, and then we had the great ice apocalypse of 2021 here in North
Oh yeah.
Texas.
The
And
Icepocalypse.
so, yes, so we were all housebound. And so
Oh.
I had to record episodes three, three, four, and five, three, four, five, six, somewhere around there. I had to record several episodes from home on my remote setup at the time. Um, and then those went to broadcast and then got an email a few weeks later that was like, hey, yeah, the audio quality wasn't very good. So we have to re-record all those. So we did. I had to go back in studio and re-record those episodes. Um, Things have improved much more since then in my home studio.
Yeah.
But back then we did what we had to do to stay on schedule and somehow we made it work. Thank you to the
Yeah.
mixers for dealing with my crappy audio at the time.
Do you consider yourself more as a voice actor or a remote voice actor, or would you say you dabble in both nowadays?
I dabble in both. I will say in my current apartment situation, I'm still finagling my audio. I make it work out of my closet, but I have issues with my neighbor's AC unit turning on and there being a low frequency vibration and humming coming from it. And I
Yeah.
can't just tell them to turn off their AC because we live in Texas. So I purchased a Studio Bricks
Yes.
similar to what
I
you have.
heard. I
Yep.
saw that. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you. So that'll get here eventually and then I'll build it. And I think then I'll feel much more comfortable being remote.
Yeah.
When I lived at home, my closet setup was great. Like I was able to record everything from there, no issues. Um, but the time has come for a bit of an upgrade and an investment.
Yeah.
So I think I'll be more comfortable with remote at that point, but I also love the feeling of going in studio. It just,
Yeah.
I feel like I'm going to work. Like I feel mentally, physically prepared and excited for what's to come. And it kind of helps amp me up for the performance.
Hell yeah.
So I like both. It just depends on how I feel on a given day or the scope of the project, I guess.
Yeah. I'm just out of curiosity, how long have you been voice acting for actually?
Let's see. My first Walla session was in 2015.
Oh wow. So about
Yeah, so
like 9 years,
been
almost a
yeah,
decade. That's crazy. That's
yeah.
awesome.
I didn't really like go all in until like 2019.
Not fair enough.
Um, but yeah, that was yeah,
Wow.
crazy. It's been that long.
Hell yeah. Oh well, a decade next year. That's gonna be cool. So you should celebrate.
I I will somehow. I don't know how, but I'll figure it out.
Yeah, because this is only year 7 for me, so I'm still wondering how how I'm gonna celebrate number big old number 10.
Yeah,
But yeah, all the best with building the studio bricks. I will say the door is the heaviest and the worst part. So, definitely if you're able to like find friends to help you build it, that definitely helps a lot.
yes, that is what I've been told. And I was like, we'll certainly be doing that. And we'll also be buying them pizza afterwards.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like pizza, give them a drink, maybe some fries. Like honestly, it depends. Like if you have to carry that door upstairs, because I had to carry this door upstairs, and it's like 80 kgs, and it's such a pain in the ass. And
Yeah,
yeah, so like yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. And like I'm probably gonna have to move again soon-ish. So I'm gonna take it all down and just move it. I'm getting movers this time, so like
there you go.
that's gonna probably make streamline the process a bit easier, and also show them how to take it down because they probably like studio breaks aren't a common thing in New Zealand. You know what I mean? So it's like
Yeah.
yeah, because it's a very small country, so it's like oh you do this. This is very epic. Now tell us how to take it down, please. You know. But yeah, Marissa, my final question to you is, what keeps you going?
Oh my gosh. That's such a good question.
Yes.
And something I think we all struggle with is just staying motivated in an industry that is, 90% rejection. That
Mm,
the job is auditioning and booking the job is a special treat at the end if you're good.
yeah.
Um, I I think in the beginning, when I first graduated college, I did a lot of theater before I started voiceover, and I was essentially saying yes to show after show after show, and eventually I got really burned out.
Mm,
And I was saying yes to every show because I had set this goal in my mind of I want to make my entire living off of performance work alone, which sounds great and possible. And it is possible, but it's also really difficult, especially when you're
mm,
just graduating and just starting out.
yeah.
And so I burned myself out because I set such a lofty goal that kind of felt impossible. Um, and so then I changed my goal and I said, I just want to leave people better than I found them. And that could be done in any number of ways. I can do that through my art. I can do it through serving coffee at Starbucks like I used to. I can do it through good conversation, just listening, creating, um, I don't know, organizing my planner, like so many little things. Um, and so what keeps me going isn't the idea of fame or uh, reputation or um, impressing others. It's being able to do something I love and using it to connect to others on a more humane level.
Yeah.
Um, because at the end of the day, that's why I do what I do is I
Yeah.
want to tell stories and make good art and connect with people.
Yeah. That's all you can really want. Because like I don't know. It's more like if you solely focus on voiceover for like the fame, like, and to be fair, voice actors aren't really famous to begin with, to be honest. If you compare it to like the other celebrities, but yeah, as long as you just keep doing what you like, things will fall into place. Like I know what it's like to like solely focus on like one aspect, and that will like, and if you have that lack of uh that lack of that due to like the unpredictability, you can get really bitter and angry, and it's not fun for you or for anybody. So yeah, just be a good person, do cool things with cool people, and the rest will the rest will truly just fall into place. It's as simple
Yep.
as that. as a voiceover, it's like I think it's nowadays I think it's pretty easy to start, but it's really hard to maintain, especially for like a long period of time. But
100%.
so like anyone who's starting, anyone who's continuing to, you know, do their journey, just keep going. Just genuinely just keep going. you know. You never know. You
Yep,
truly never know. Like a lot of stuff has happened for both you and I over these past few years, and like it is insane. So you truly never know. Um, but
exactly.
but yeah, Marissa, thank you so much for coming on because this wraps up the interview season
Woohoo!
finale. Oh my god, we've done so many episodes. Oh
That's
god.
awesome.
I will say for next season we're gonna limit the episodes a lot because we did like 40 this season. So we're gonna do maybe like 10 to 12 each season each year just to you know keep my mental sanity in check. I just had a lot of free time this year, so I was like, okay, I just want to do a lot and talk to more people because that was like one of my goals. So yeah, so thank
Good
you
on
again.
you.
Thank you so much. Thank you again for coming on. You've been an absolute lovely person and a pleasure to talk to.
Of
And
course. Thank you for having me.
of course, and yeah, Marissa, where can people find you on social media and stuff?
Great question. I am on Twitter or X at Marissa Duran underscore. On Instagram at Marissa Duran, no underscore. And then I recently created a TikTok and I'm not super active on
Ooh,
it, but it's there. And I believe I'm at Marissa Duran underscore on there as well, if I remember
awesome.
correctly.
Do you make skits or is it mainly just voiceover stuff over there?
Every now and then I'll post a dad joke because I think they're funny. And then I have skit ideas. I just haven't done them yet because the thought, I don't know. It's so much work and it kind of stresses me out sometimes. But on these days when I have a lot of free time, I should just do it.
Yeah, just do it. Why not? If and you might even end up getting famous. Who knows?
I
Like,
know. I just need one TikTok to go viral. That's all I need.
yeah, all you gotta do is say "hak to" and then you have your whole life ahead of you. And
Oh my gosh.
this, Christ, I didn't. I just learned today that she has a podcast. I was like, wow. Um, and the podcast is called Talk to Her, which is amazing. Like, cause like, hey, welcome to Talk to Her, where we talk to you. That's genius. I don't know what.
Oh man.
That's
I'm
that's
mad I didn't think of it.
that's so good. Like it's like you can hate on her all you want, but that's genius in my
Amazing.
eyes. But yeah, so this wraps up. Oh god, this wraps up season 3. Season 4 will be next year. Um Probably around like the half of the year cuz right now I'm just going to gear up for a break and vacation time cuz thank god I finally need one for real.
You earned it.
Hell yeah, I think I have. And yeah, thank you again for coming on. Who better than to have than the Marissa Duran for the season 3 finale of my interview series. So thank you, thank you again for coming on. Thank you guys so much for watching as always, and I'll see you for the next season. Bye everybody.